Hey, hey. All right, I'm gracing your presence this Monday afternoon because I just felt led to share a little bit more about my coaching story and share with you how I went from teaching for the past 13 years to now being full-time Beachbody coach and stay-at-home mom. Because honestly, if you had told me like 5 years ago that this is something I would be doing, it was not like a blip on my radar, you guys. So I want to just share with you like kind of how I got here. So I want to back up kind of a long time ago, okay? I want to back up to when I had Grant. So I think your fitness journey too can look so different with each child, with each pregnancy, and mine was truly how it is. So after I had Grant, I was in no hurry to start a routine, to join a gym or any of that. So what I did was I just started running. I wanted to be active. I wanted something to feel good postpartum. And so I started running because I didn't know what else to do. And also I needed something that I didn't have to take him to a gym daycare. So that was my way of being active. And I got back to pre-pregnancy weight pretty quickly. And then I just didn't feel confident. I didn't feel strong. I wasn't really your body changes in pregnancy, and you guys know that. And I just wasn't really happy with how my body looked, honestly. And so after he was probably about 18 months, and I'm like, all right, something's got to change. I saw tons of my friends that were actually going to the gym. They were lifting weights, which was so foreign to me. But I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot because they look amazing. They look strong. That's how I want to look. And so I started going to the gym finally once he got a little older. And I started just following random fitness people on Instagram, right? So I came across this one girl, and she was just working out in her garage, and she had 6-pack abs. And I went and creeped on her profile and saw that she had 2 kids. And really, 2 kids and you have abs and you're working out in your garage? But I found myself going back to her page every single day because she was showing up every day. I knew I could count on her, and she was it was just motivating me, right? I'm like, all right, if she can do it, I can do it. So I would go creep on her stories. I would see her showing up, and then I would be in the gym doing my own thing. But never once did I think that what she did was for me. I'm like, no, not for me. I only followed her for motivation and inspiration. Okay. And then fast forward a few years to second pregnancy. Had a good gym routine down, but 2017 was the year of change for our family, all the changes possible. Okay, so husband got a new job. We ended up moving, which just means uprooting your family to a new place where we didn't know anybody, didn't have any family around. And at the same time, I found out I was pregnant again, which was great. It was a blessing. That's what we wanted. But it was all happening at the same time. So I mentioned I'm a teacher. I'm in the middle of a school year, and now I find myself first trimester having no downtime. There was no time to be tired or feel bad or feel crappy or whatever because I had a toddler and I was in the middle of moving. So I would go to work every day, I would come home every day, and then I would just literally be packing boxes. So it was a whirlwind of I think a month between selling and buying and actually being in our new home. But I was still in the middle of teaching. So even though we moved, my husband stayed, and then Grant and I had to stay behind and lived with my parents to finish out the school year. So it was just this year of transition, a lot of good changes, but also just a time where I had no time for me. I was, always going through fast food, drive-through, whatever. I was basically in survival mode. And so even whenever we moved here, finally in our new house, and, Grant and I moved over the summer, we got settled. But it was still just basically all right, let's get settled here. Let's just survive. And we have a new baby on the way. So I wasn't really looking to make any big changes. But after I had her, it kind of I feel the weight of it just hit me at once. And I'm like, all right, I have a newborn and a toddler. I'm tired. I'm grumpy. I'm groggy. And I felt like I was on the back burner for that whole year. And finally I was like, I've got to do something. I've got to do something different. What I've been doing isn't working for me anymore. And so I knew that I needed a big change. Not just oh, I think I want to start working out again. No, I needed a big change, and I needed something convenient that was going to fit in with mom life. And I needed help. And so sure enough, I had still been following that girl on Instagram for all these years, never once thinking that, like I said, what she did was for me. In fact, she had invited me and I told her no. I'm like, no, I go to the gym. I'm not into home workouts and all that. But 2 kids later, I found myself needing something. I said, you know what, I'm just going to give it a shot. I'll do it for like 3 weeks just so she can help me and teach me with what to eat. And then that was it. I planned on like going back to the gym, okay? So joined her boot camp for 3 weeks, grudgingly, like against my will. I was like, okay, I'll do this. And in 3 weeks, I was literally just amazed at how I felt. I'm like, okay, I have a newborn, but I'm eating more than I ever have before. I have all the energy. I'm working out with my baby naps. And like, I felt like I just finally found this solution. I'm like, this works for me. And I just felt great. And so, she reached out and she's like, you know, you're doing awesome. Like, your results are great. Have you ever thought about coaching? I'm like, no. Like, me? Like, I just started. Are you kidding me? And so my number one thing was like, I don't think I have time. You know, I have 2 little kids. I work full time. I was going back to teaching from my maternity leave. And so I'm like, no. So I joined in a little sneak peek group that she had. She's like, just come check it out and see if it's something, you know, that could be for you. So I joined in the group 100% just to see if I was going to have time to do this. I actually, when she mentioned it, I was like, you know what? I actually want to do this for the accountability because I felt so good. I wanted to keep going. And I said, if I could coach others and help other women and kind of just put myself out there and put my journey out there, then I can stick with this. I didn't want to go back to that yo-yo cycle that I had been on before where it was like start again, stop again, you know, struggling with what to do, what to eat, all that. I didn't want to go back there because I felt so good. So I saw coaching as the way that I could be really accountable to my goals. I just was hesitant about if I was going to have the time to do it. And that was what my husband asked too. He's like, are you crazy? You're going back to work for maternity leave and how are you going to fit this in? I'm like, let's just see. So I joined the group, and in that group, I saw other women that were just like me. They were moms, they were teachers, they were busy, and they had this thing though. Like, they also just had like this joy. And I wanted that. I was like, they feel amazing. They have their jobs and their families and their careers, but they also have this thing on the side that like is filling them up, giving them purpose. And it's something that they pour into, and they all made it work in different ways. Some of them, it was just in little time increments throughout the day, and others, it was early in the morning or after their kids were asleep. And so my wheels got to turning, and I saw that I could do that too. And I'm like, okay, I know I can make the time. After I put my babies to bed, I know that I can do this, and, you know, invest the time into my business and just learn, right? I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a following on social media. Had obviously no business experience, and I just started my own journey, but I was like, I can learn and I can see if this would, you know, if I can do this. So I dove into coaching, and my goal at that time was literally just to earn the same amount of money that I would make as a teacher with another master's degree. Okay, so that was my mission, because as a teacher, if any of you are teachers, you'll know this, but the only way that you can get a raise is to get another degree, and then they give you a pay raise. I already had my master's degree, which was one bump up, and I already had my national board certification, which is another bump up. So the only thing left was to get a second master's degree, and that was going to take away time from my family. Okay, that was going to cause us to take out student loans. It was going to take a lot of time just on weekends and in the evenings that I didn't want to spend away from my family. So I said, all right, this is my goal. If I can just earn that same amount of money, then this would 100% be worth it, right? So in my first year as a coach, that is what I did, okay? And I was covering the products and the fitness programs that I was already using and loving. And I gave myself that master's degree raise without having to go back to grad school, without having to take time away from my family. And I started like just seeing it grow month after month. So pretty soon, I had 2 kids in daycare, mind you. I was then covering daycare expenses. And I'm like, this is huge. This is life-changing. So actually, before we even, you know, had my daughter, that was one of the big like factors, was like, we want to grow our family, but gosh, the cost of 2 kids in daycare it's the cost of a mortgage payment. And so that was one of our like holdbacks of like, can we afford this? You know, how many cutbacks are we going to have to make just to afford 2 in daycare? So when I was able to start covering that, it was a game changer for our family. And we truly saw like, all right, this this is not just like a little like side hustle. Like this is actually something that is changing the way we live our lives. And I think that sometimes we think that too, that side hustles are just that. We think they're just something, oh, it brings in a little money every month. I never knew that there was a significant like potential to grow a significant income until I started coaching. And so I just told my husband, I said, look, I'm in this for the long haul. This is something that I can see that could change our future. And I said, I'm not ever going to quit because I absolutely love it. It has changed how I feel, and I'm going to continue sharing it with everybody, right? And so now I've been a coach for 3 years, and last year we were finally had the option to say, hey, this seems like the right time for our family to make the transition now into full-time coaching, okay? Because the income is there, and my daughter still had 3 years left of daycare. And I said, if I could get those 3 years back without having to send her there, and I get that time, like that's everything to me, right? That's worth all the early mornings, the nights, the everything. And so last year was my last year teaching. And so now I actually do this full time and coach full time. And like I said, it was something that I would have never in a million years thought that it was something I would do, but now has just blessed us immeasurably. And I'm just so thankful that I at least tried and was willing to start, even though it was something that was so like foreign to me. And like I said, I would never do that. You know, I don't want those at-home workouts. It's funny how the things you say you don't want sometimes end up being the things that will change everything. So anyway, I just felt led to share that story with you today. And if it's something that you've thought about, if you've been following my page and you feel like you connect with certain parts of my story or my journey, and you want a little more information about what I do as a coach, I'm actually going to do a 1-day sneak peek for you on Thursday and just fill you in. And you can just come in and see, hey, could this be something for me too? Like I said, I never knew until I joined a group like that. And then I was like, okay, these are women like me. They're making it work, and it's having this positive impact on their lives that I wanted. So come hang out with me on Thursday. I will share the link with you guys, and then you can come check it out for yourself and see if it's something that would work for you. No obligation ever, but I know that this business can bless your life if you let it. So I hope y'all have a happy Monday. I'll chat with you later. Bye.